Hello, so we're working on Module 6, Lesson 11. Go ahead and start with your name on the top, and then we're working on problems 1, A, B, and C, and then that's it. So for problem 1, instructions first say complete the tables for the given rules. So you have two tables below that. You have line L, and then a table, and line M, and then a table, okay? So I did my best to draw it as much as clean as I could, fit it all, but as big as I could. So you have your x coordinates, but you have blank for y coordinates, and you have blanks for your coordinate pairs. So you're looking at the rule. So for line L, it says the rule is double of the x. So if you know for your first row right here, our x is 0. So if we have 0 doubled, 0 times 2, it still equals 0. So then you would plug in 0 here. 0 for your y. Oh, you can't see that. Okay. So then once you have that y figured out, then you can create your coordinate pairs. So that your coordinate pairs would be 0, 0. So parentheses 0, comma 0, parenthesis. Kind of looks like a smiley face. Okay, so now let's keep filling in that table. So for the next x coordinate in the next row, we see the x coordinate is 1. So I know the rule is double of the x. So if we're going to double 1, you can think double of 1, so 2 ones, or you can think of 1 times 2. So 1 times 2 equals 2, so then you would plug in 2 right here. So now I've completed my x coordinate and my y coordinate, so now we can make our coordinate pairs. So that would be comma, or parenthesis, 1, comma, 2, parenthesis. It's a little sloppy, I'm sorry. Okay, so then you have two other x coordinates where you need to fill in the table. So think about it again. You can think about it in your head, or you can write out your equations on a piece of paper if you have a piece of paper and pencil or marker or crayon. So you would have 2 doubled to find the y coordinate. You would have 3 doubled to find the y coordinate for this one. So 2 times 2 equals here. 3 times 2 equals here. Your answer here, your product there. And then your coordinate pairs put together here. So now let's do some for line M. Go ahead and click pause whenever you need to. If you need to stop, fill in the table, and then move on to table line M. So now, I'll keep with the blue. So now line M says the rule is double x and then add 1. So I see that, let me pull this down a little bit. I see that for rule double x for line M is also a rule for double x for line L, right? They both have double x. So that's one thing that they have in common. The only thing that's different is that this one has another operation. So you're timesing it by 2, and then you're adding 1. Okay? So let's do a few together. Oh, that's too high. So, if your x coordinate is 0, you need to double the 0 and then add 1. So 0 times 2 equals 0, then add 1. So 0 plus 1 equals 1. So 1 right there. So now I have my coordinate pairs. So I'm going to plug them in here. So parenthesis, 0, comma, 1, parenthesis. Okay, so now for the next one, I want to write out an equation as well. So I'll just do it on the side right here. So if we have 1 as the x coordinate, we're going to double it. So we would have 1 times 2 in parentheses, because that stays together, and then add 1. Okay, so 1 times 2 equals 2. Oh, you can't see that, I'm sorry. And then you would drop down and then you would add 1. So now 2 plus 1 equals 3. So now you would plug in your 3 for the y coordinate here. And now you have your coordinate pairs to plug in together over here. So that would be parenthesis 1, comma, 3, parenthesis. So same steps to fill in your coordinate pairs for your next 2 rows. So 2 doubled, then add 1. So 2 times 2 plus 1. 3 times 2 plus 1. And then plug in your y coordinate here. And then plug in your ordered pairs in the blanks as well. So go ahead and click pause if you want to stop to do that. And then come back so we can do part A. So now part A says, draw each line on the coordinate plane above. So my coordinate plane's right here. So on the coordinate plane it starts 0, 0. Here's the origin in the corner right here. So then the x-axis is counting by 2's, but it's skipping every other line 2's. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So if this is 0 and this is 2, that means here is 1. Here's 3, 5, 7, 9. So then the y-axis, the one going vertically, so 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So now you're using the coordinate pairs that you made on the table to plug them into your coordinate plane and then make your lines and label the line. So let's start with line L. So line L, our first coordinate pair is 0, 0. So now I'm going to look for 0, 0 on my coordinate plane, which is right there. So my next coordinate pair is 1, 2. So 1 on the x-axis, 2 on the y-axis, right there. And then your other 2 coordinate pairs that you plugged into your table, you also need to plot those on your coordinate plane and then make your line. So I'm just going to make my line with my 2 points that I have. Oh. So it'll look kind of like that. So then label it line L. Kind of looks like an E, but it's not an E, it's a cursive L. Okay, so then you have another line to plug in. So line M, so my first coordinate pairs are 0, 1. I'll use a different marker. So 0 on the x-axis, sorry you can't see that, 0 on the x-axis, 1 on the y-axis. So that would be right there. So then the next coordinate pair would be 1, 3. So 1 on the x-axis, 3 on the y-axis. So right there. And then you have your other 2 coordinate pairs that you solved for that you also need to plot on here to make your line. So then connect your points and make your line. And then label it. So that's line M. Okay, so but for each of these lines, you should have 4 coordinate points plotted, okay? Okay, so that's A. So if you need to click pause, go ahead and go finish this up and then come back for part B. So B says, compare and contrast these lines. And then I made sentence stems for you. So comparing something that is the same about them, and then contrasting something that is different about them, about these 2 lines right here. Okay, so lines L and M are both blank. So they're both something. Are they both parallel or perpendicular? So parallel meaning 2 lines that go the same way but never touch. Perpendicular meaning that they intersect, they cross each other. So plug in that word that describes how we are comparing the two lines. Lines L and lines M are both blank. So then one contrasting thing about the two lines, or about the rules, each y-coordinate of line M is blank than the y-coordinates of line L. So for thinking about the y-coordinates, so the y-coordinates for line L are 0, 2, and then 1, 3. So when you're comparing 0 to 1, I see this one is less than this one, and this one is 1 more than this one. When we're comparing 2 and 3, so this y-coordinate, and comparing this y-coordinate, I see this one is less than, and this one is greater than. So the y-coordinate for line M is 1 more than this y-coordinate for line L. So now think of the words that will, there's two words. Think of the two words that will best complete that sentence stem that I started for you. Each y-coordinate of line M is blank than y-coordinates of line L. So each of these is something than the y-coordinates of line L. Okay, go ahead and plug in your answer, and then last question, problem C. So problem C says, based on the patterns you see, predict what the line for the rule double X and then subtract 1 would look like. Draw the line on the plane above. So I predict I predict that this line will be blank to lines M and L. So let's think about the rule. So this rule is double the X, and it made this line. The rule for line M is double the X and then add 1, which made line M here, which showed that the line will be above line M. Line M is above line L. Do you see that? We added 1, and then it made the line above line L. So now for the rule given in C, where it's double X, just like these two, but then subtract 1. So the y-coordinates will look a little bit differently. So predicting line, whatever you want to call it, draw a line where you think it would go, what you think it would look like. So by drawing the line, predict that this line will be parallel or perpendicular to lines M and L. So you need to pick one of those to fill in the sentence. I predict that this line will be parallel or perpendicular to lines M and L. So pick one of those words, parallel or perpendicular. Try your best at spelling it. It doesn't have to be perfect. And make sure you draw the line here in the table, in the coordinate plane as well. If you need to draw another table towards the bottom or just the coordinate pairs of your ClassKick assignment, you have plenty of space to do that. You can do that with your pen mode, with your text mode, and then you're all done. Nice job, you did awesome.